Okay, one of these days I'm not going to have any techie problems. So let me just share my slide with you if I can. There we go. Alrighty, so I didn't hear a ding on my end. I'm just wondering if I'm actually live and if you can hear me. So if you could just type into the chat box, let me know that you can hear me and that you can see my slide. I gotta move mine off to the side, so. Oh, excellent. Perfect. So, okay, we're on time again, even though I had technical difficulties. Okay, hello, it's Dr. Young, Dr. Heike Young. And as always, it's a pleasure to bring you these weekly Thursday tidbits, although this one is my last free weekly webinar for you, but I'll tell you about this in a minute. So excellent, you can hear me and you can see my slide. Can you see my slide? I can see that you hear me. I'm assuming you can see my slide. Excellent. So let's get started. This week's Thursday tidbit is the last one in a 6-part series. It's also the end of, like I just said, these free weekly webinars and tidbits, and the beginning of something new and really exciting. And it's interesting that this week's portion of the Change series is titled Onward and Upward, because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing, hopefully with your help. So let's get started. How to create changes in your clinic without generating conflict, attracting bad attitudes, or feeling disrespected. The onward and the upward part of it. So just to summarize, we've talked about the setup, the delivery, taking action, handling objections, and the watch and learn. And you can watch these past videos in this series to catch up. And I will tell you at the end of this presentation where you can find the videos. The last topic on here, watch and learn from last week, part 5 out of 6, received a lot of attention on LinkedIn. It keeps getting liked and it keeps getting shared. So I encourage you to either watch the video from last week or to read that article. But today I want to address the onward and upward. What exactly does that mean? So it's more of a mind shift and an attitude than an actual action step, but it's very important when you think about change or changes. And if you don't know this about the change process, you might not be able to set yourself and your team up for success. So the change process is actually a process. It's almost like a living entity. It's not a one-time thing that happens and then it stops. Change changes everything. It changes how you are perceived, how you perceive others. It changes how things are thought about. It changes how things are done. Change has a ripple effect. Like when you throw a rock into a lake. It doesn't have to be a big rock. It doesn't need to be big change. Even a tiny pebble will cause a ripple effect. So anytime you ask for change, it's a big deal. So I need you to understand that. In addition, there's an upward spiral associated with change. It moves up and down like a heartbeat or a wave of an ocean or a roller coaster. There's a peak and there's a valley, or there's several peaks and several valleys. So you'll experience good days and bad days. And some changes will move onward and upward quickly, and others will seem to linger in these longer ups and longer downs. And what I need you to understand so you don't get discouraged with yourself or your team is that every change has an upward, downward, and onward timeline. So, of course, the ups, the peaks, the crests are the happy times when things are going well. And that's where you want to stay. That's where you all want to stay. That's where you want to linger. That's what makes us happy. That's when your team works together perfectly well, when you can't wait to go to work again the next day because the meeting went well, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the change, was great. But that isn't realistic. Every up has a down associated with it. So what goes up, must come down. The problem occurs when the down, or the dip, as it's also called, that lull lingers for a really long time. And that's when you're going to get discouraged. And that's when your team is going to get discouraged. And you'll get discouraged. They'll get discouraged. You'll want to throw in the towel. It's when you get frustrated with them. It's when they get frustrated with you. It's when you feel lonely. It's when you feel overwhelmed. When you don't know if you're doing a good job. When you doubt yourself as a manager or a leader. And it's also when you feel undervalued. So you can go through all of these emotional lulls of frustration, insecurity, inadequacy, inferiority, overwhelm, despair, loneliness, anxiety, and anger. Just realize, last week we talked about, you go down and you come back up again. Realize that that is the dip. And that happens before you head back towards happier times, when you love your work again, when you love your team and you love your clinic owner and everything falls back into place again. The dip, when that happens and then you go back up again, is not just like a wave, or it is like a wave because not every wave is the same. The dip is actually an upward spiral. So you go down into the dip, you come back up again. The next time around, when you go back into the dip, you will be at a different stage in the change process. So will your team. So the dip that you're going to experience in the future is not the same dip that you've experienced in the past, because it hinges on the onward part of change. But again, there's always that dip. So now that you realize that, and I hope it's something new that you haven't thought about before, it's that, happiness, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, why am I having a bad day? Or, oh, I'm having a bad day again. Well, that bad day is that dip, and it's not the same bad day that you had last week. You've actually accomplished a lot. You've actually closer to achieving what you've wanted to achieve, especially when you have a specific focus goal, or you know exactly where to take your clinic to, if you know where that place is. But if you're in a dip for a really long time, you get it's really painful. And how do you know if you should stay in the dip or quit? So there's going the wrong way. There's a great book by Seth Godin I'm going to recommend. It's called The Dip. The little book that teaches you when to quit and when to stick. I would highly recommend you read it if you haven't yet. It's a great book for anybody to read, but especially if you're a practice manager. The other thing you can do when you're stuck in the dip, or when you're down, or when you're frustrated, or things aren't going the way you think they should, or you're doubting yourself, you get outside help. Because a lot of times we cannot see the forest for the trees. Plus, it's helpful to talk to other people who are in your shoes, or have been in your shoes, or other practice managers who are experiencing the same problems, or have experienced the same problems in the past. So here's where community support is so very valuable. And that brings me to my Onward and Upward, and the reason why you're not going to be seeing these weekly webinars anymore. Because as you may or may not know, I've been focusing my coaching business on veterinary practices over the last 3 years. And over the past year, I've really explored opportunities to bring veterinary practice managers support, guidance, and mentoring. So it's not as much about the whole clinic anymore, although that's where I'd like to end up. It's more about mentoring, coaching, and guiding veterinary practice managers. You are my focus from now on. And thanks to all of the people who've given me feedback over the last year, I now have a new vision of how I can support you better. One of them is a private Facebook group for veterinary practice managers. It's brand new, it's my little baby. So the private Facebook group is free, and it offers you the chance to receive support and to be part of a community that understands your specific challenges. And if you want to go on Facebook and search for it, it's called VPM Club, Veterinary Practice Managers Club. So if you put that in the search title on Facebook, you will find that. And I would encourage you to join Facebook, that Facebook group today. Like I said, it's brand new. You can also find out more about what I'm doing on my new website called Beyond Vet Med. And that's beyondvetmed.com. It's still, if you click on the icon, the Facebook icon, it'll take you directly to the Veterinary Practice Managers Club. And on Beyond Vet Med, you will see other things that I'm doing. So let me just go back to Facebook for a second. The Facebook group is private. You do have to be a practice manager, a veterinary practice manager of some sort. I don't care if you're actually a veterinary practice manager, if you're a certified veterinary practice manager, if you're a hospital manager, if you're a hospital director, you have to have some sort of managerial role to join that private group. And when you get on there, and I hope you will, I will ask that you introduce yourself and tell us or tell me what you hope to get out of the Facebook group. And then I will meet you there from now on. So I'll also continue, like I said earlier, I'm not going to be sending out these invitations anymore for these webinars, because now I will continue to do weekly tidbits and tutorials, but I will post them either on the Facebook group or on my new website. The website is still in its infancy and it's new also, so come back often and check out what I've added to it, because I plan on having a whole library of these past webinars on there, past articles, all these support resources for you. And the things are, or a lot of these things are going to be changing as I receive feedback from you. So remember, the more feedback, the more interaction I receive from you, the better I can support you. Because the general idea is there on the website, and it's my vision to create more support, more mentoring opportunities, and more coaching opportunities for veterinary practice managers, because I want you to be more confident. I want you to be more clear in what your role in the veterinary clinic is. And I've also realized how very, very isolated you are, because you are, like I said last week, the golden link. You are stuck between the practice owner and the support staff. And if you lean either way and try to create friendships with those, that might, or probably already has blown up in your face a few times. So being the practice manager is a very, very lonely job. And I don't want that. I don't want it to be, although I know in your clinic it has to be, but I want you to have support. I want you to have a support community. So that's what it's all about. So as I'm talking here, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat box so I can get to them. I've already talked 15 minutes, which is over my 10 minutes that I've allotted for these Thursday time slots. And yes, I will continue to do the round table meetings. It's been a bit challenging to find a time slot where people can hop on and be part of the roundtable discussion, because we have people from all over the state, so the time differences, the time zones are different. So again, I'm hoping that with Facebook, that will create more of a community so that we can then figure out what's a good time to actually get together and have these virtual online meetings that we now can have. It was really great actually last Wednesday when we had people on the call and we could see each other, or we could turn our videos off and just have our pictures up. So, that's another idea that I have. It's in the making, it's out there. It's just a matter of connecting with all of you. And so, even though I've not been a Facebook fan in the past, I'm going to come down off of my little pedestal and get on Facebook. I've also joined a great mastermind group in England, and that's where this idea came from, because it's great to connect with those people in England who've now become my support structure, and I want to offer that same thing to you. So let's see, I have a question. With roundtable discussions, would we be able to pre-post a comment or question that can be addressed during the discussion if we're unable to make it? Absolutely. And so that's where Facebook, again, is so invaluable, because I can say, I can put the icon of the roundtable on there and say, don't forget, we're having a roundtable discussion tomorrow night. If you can't attend, just post your questions down below. You'll know when it's going to happen. You'll see the link on how to get there. And then, yes, you can post your comments or questions on it. Then we can discuss it and record it, and you can view it. I do have to tell you that right now the Facebook, the VPM Club is free. I hope to keep it that way, but I can't do all of this for free for you. So, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So the roundtable meetings and the discussions are going to be under the VPM Club membership fee, and you can see that on my website page. And I think it's very affordable. It's a monthly fee that's very affordable, and you can pay per month and be on it, or you can take a month off if you don't like it, which I hope that's not going to happen. But say if you go off and you're going to be, let's just imagine you're going to be on vacation for a couple of months. You don't have to continue paying if you're not going to be part of the group. Any other questions? And like I said, your feedback, your ideas, your insights, hey, this isn't working so well for me, but I would really like if we could do such and such for it. I would really like that. Is there a yearly discount rate? Actually, there is. So for the discount rate, you need to get in touch with me. There's also a higher membership, a mastermind group that is a little bit more expensive. You get a lot more for it, and it's limited to a small group of people, to 15 people. So that's available also. So again, if you go onto my my website, Beyond Vet Med, and you click on, I believe if you click on the button under the mastermind, it will bring up the comparison between the club, the VPM Club, the mastermind, and the mastery program. And again, feedback would be really appreciated. I love your feedback. I love your insights. I love, love, love your ideas. So definitely, again, through the Facebook group, I think we can have a much better back and forth so that we get more people into the mix and excited about this. Because like I said earlier, it's such a lonely job. and you really don't have support. You have the business owner pulling you one way, the staff members pulling you the other way. You're in the middle trying to appease everybody and create these amazing changes for your clinic, and you don't have a support structure. So that's what it's all about. Any other questions? Thank you, Danny, for those questions. They were excellent. And again, go back to the article from last week. It's actually on my website, so you can read it there. It's also on LinkedIn. Excellent. I don't see any more questions. It's been about 20 minutes. That's how much time I wanted to spend on this today, not more, because I know how precious your time is. So I hope to see you on the Facebook group. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. If you know other veterinary practice managers, send them that way, and let's get you some support. Let's create some conversations, some discussions, and let's see what we can do with it. Great. Have a great rest of this Thursday. Have a wonderful Easter, and I will see you on the Facebook group. Thanks. Bye-bye.